All right, folks, are you guys ready to get airborne? Let's go ahead and get airborne. I want to make sure we got sound. Everybody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Awesome. Good. Great. All right, folks, incredibly fired up. Let's go ahead and get airborne. All systems are go. We had an incredible year in 2016, and we're starting our 7th year in business. We haven't even made it halfway through 2017. We're already on track to blow away our 2016 performance, and for our weekly options traders, last week was an absolute blast. We're going to talk about last week, what happened in the markets, what happened around the world. We're going to have an absolutely awesome week this week. Do me a favor, and I was showing you real quick, but I was talking to myself. Do me a favor, as literally we're probably going to have 1,000 people in this room. Take a look at this. Registered for Full Throttle. See, we're doing 6 live training and trading sessions this week. You see how many people we have registered? Let's see how much it's going up here. 5,376 people are interested in this industry-leading Full Throttle. 50 of you will grab slots by the end of the week. So again, men lie, numbers don't. So take a look at how many people we have on board. But as people keep streaming into the room here, do me a favor and let me know, because I obviously have my TGO veterans in here and current members, because they like stopping by and checking things out. Do me a favor and let me know if give me a new and where you're coming in from. And I want to Julian from Texas. Anybody else? Rowlett, Texas. I used to live in Keller. There's my squadron right there. We'll talk to that. I saw on the Facebook page somebody right up the street in Boynton, Colorado Springs. Welcome, Scott. Got a buddy out there. Miramar Beach, Florida, Marietta, Georgia, Atlanta, Lexington, Kentucky. Look at this, man. Boise, Chicago, New Dundee, New York. Nicholas, Richmond, Virginia, the Villages down here in Florida. Merritt Island, Houston, 2 Houstons. Awesome. New to Florida, John Sellers. All right, guys, great. This is awesome. You're gonna have an absolute blast this week. And if you don't know who I am and this guy who needs to throttle back on his Red Bull and caffeine, you're going to know me very well by the time we close our doors on Friday. Real quick, though, if you're looking at, all right, man, how long is this thing going to last, and is it recorded? There's the first answer. We're going to go about $1.50 tonight, maybe shy of that, depending on how many questions we take. So, yeah, about an hour and a half, and everything's recorded. So if you can't make the primary live trade brief tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., we're going to send you the replay link, so you don't even have to, you can keep your powder dry, and you don't have to ask me that question, okay? So maybe an hour and a half tonight, maybe shy of that. I'm going to tell you who I am, who Top Gun Options is, and I'll show you our flight schedule for the week. It was on the opt-in page when you signed up to get here, but hopefully you can take a little screenshot. On the top of one of the windows you're viewing me in, is a little camera. Throughout the week, if you want to capture something that's on the screen, go ahead and click that camera. And I think it saves to your desktop or to My Documents, whatever. It saves to your computer. So when I put the schedule for the week, so you don't have to email us and say, hey, what's the schedule for the week? So I will we'll talk through that. Flight schedule for the week. Our performance, our portfolio performance in 2016, like I said, we made some calls towards the end of 2016 that nobody else in the financial industry did, except a handful of guys like Jeffrey Gunlock, who manages about $95 billion for Double Line Capital. So Jeffrey and I made the same call towards the end of 16, and we're both crushing it in 2017. Our trading and training methodology, okay? Notice I put training in italics. If you're looking for financial education, you need to go somewhere else. The world is full of educated derelicts, to steal half a quote from Calvin Coolidge. Doctors are trained. Plumbers are trained. Attorneys are trained. Fighter pilots are trained. Training gives you a skill. Here at Top Gun Options, we're going to give you a skill. Okay, so we're going to cover some training and also this acronym. I changed it up a little bit. Not fear 2017. Each one of those letters tonight, I'm going to tell you where I'm deploying capital in 2017, and then the rest of the week, I'm going to show you live, along with my volatility arbitrage trader, Doug Robertson, how we're targeting our capital in there. And then everybody should have gotten a copy of my proprietary trade plan. Give me a vertical heads up if you head nod if you got the trade plan. And then I also, in your documents, when you checked in here, you should see a 7-step trade plan. It's a 1-page PDF. I want you to print out and have for tomorrow morning ready for the primary live trade brief, okay? Everybody should have that. It's down here under handouts. Down here on the bottom right, you should see something that says handouts. Perry, everybody else is saying yes, they did. So guys, it's under handouts and it's down there. Everybody, all right. My veterans got it, so they know where to look. Okay. And then I'm going to preview what's going to happen tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., the primary live trade brief. Okay, we don't want to go late tonight because we need to be up bright and early morning to do our primary live trade brief at 10 a.m. Okay, so here we go. If you are a snowflake, you might as well leave now. You're not going to have a fun week, and you're definitely not going to end up as a Top Gun Options member. Why do I put this out? And another trigger warning for the guy or the gal who's getting ready to type, okay, where are the trades and when are we going to talk about trading? You most likely need to split as well. I'm going to be talking about politics because unless you were on the other side of the moon last week, politics, or since November, politics is driving this market. We'll talk macroeconomic, we'll talk geopolitical, we'll talk oil, we'll talk everything. But at the end of the day, folks, it's politics. The Fed is politics. It's all politics. Now, it doesn't matter. Take a look at some of my members, especially David. He's like, dude, I hate your politics, but I love the way you print money. Thanks for your service. Best money I've spent so far in my trading career. I'm going to warn you that some of you might not like my politics. At the end of the day, to be honest with you, I take a Gordon Gekko approach. I really don't care. I'm here to manage the portfolio and make money. And if I didn't trade my politics, I'd be broke. And I'd be a Democrat or most likely a liberal. So I'm giving you a warning, snowflakes. Here is your trigger warning. So heads up. And if you're also the guy who's going to go in 5 minutes, where's the trade on Apple, you need to split too because you're not going to fit in here, TGO. Why? Because in this hour and a half tonight, I want to tell you who I am, who Top Gun Options is, our methodology, and where we're deploying capital. If you just show up to these things and go, okay, yeah, this guy sounds good, give me a trade on Apple, and you go and place it, you deserve to lose every nickel, hopefully, that happens to you. That ain't me, and that's not TGO. You ready? Your politics rock. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Here are some tactical items that you need to be on board for the week. Make sure you got your pen, your paper. I briefed how to take a little screenshot at the top of the window here with the camera. Everybody needs to sign up right now for my sit rep. Every day I do what's called a sit rep, a market situation report, okay? And here is the sit rep. It's a pretty easy address. Sit rep means situation report. And I do it either before the market, at the end of the market, midnight, whenever. I don't do it at the same time every day, so it's a kind of a waste of time to come to the website and try and look for it. It'll be annoying. Where's the sit rep? Well, it's not posted yet. So this pushes it to you. When you go here and just put in your name and your email, it'll be pushed to you when I shoot my sit rep, okay? So everybody needs to go there eventually. You don't have to do it right now. And do that. Let me post it in here as well. So that's called the sit rep, and you need to log. Even if by the end of the week you don't grab one of the slots, you're going to want to view my sit reps daily because I do throw out some trades every once in a while. What's the next thing? The replay page. Now, the replay page still needs to be cleaned up a little bit, so I'll put that out tomorrow morning. The end URL, though, is ft-replay. You know what? Don't even worry about that. I'm not going to cover that tonight. My techie's still cleaning up from the last launch, the page there. Here's where I also want you to follow me. Twitter, @WizCheck6, not because of my raving political views, but because I post on a site that is called StockTwits as well. If you've never heard of StockTwits, well, guess what? You just did, and it is a great trading resource, okay? So, you know, I got like, just go to stocktwits.com, and I'm WizCheck6, okay? So follow me on Twitter, WizCheck6, and you can get some trades as well. You can see on here I put out my sit reps. There's my sit rep for today, some trades, and some really good stuff, okay? What else tactical items before we get airborne here? So StockTwits we talked about, and then I gave you the trade plan. Everybody should have had that. Don't worry about the Options House account. We'll cover that eventually. And I talked about my Facebook page. Somebody jumped on here and said, hey, I'm right up the street in Boynton, so welcome. We got another local guy here as well. So make sure when you get a chance, there's a lot of good stuff on the Facebook page as well, talking about our live event down here in Miami and stuff like that. That's it. Here's the flight schedule, guys. Gals. Monday, tonight, is our welcome aboard session, 8 o'clock tonight. Did it after market hours so we wouldn't have the people coming in, where's the trades. Tomorrow morning, primary live trade brief at 10 a.m. And then sometime in the rest of the day, I'm going to send out what I call an urgent alert. It's a service where it just gets a video trade, a text alert, but the primary live trade brief is the big thing tomorrow. It's about an hour and a half to 2 hours, a live trade brief. In the primary live trade brief, I'm going to take a look at some of the weekly options trades that I have on. I placed an iron Condor today on the S&P 500 that could potentially make $2,900 by when the market closes Thursday afternoon. We also trade the front month, and then we also trade the back month, so to speak, all the way out to Jan 19. We can be long-term bullish, for example, on Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Apple, all the way out to Jan 19. I'm going to show you specific tactics on how to do that. Our Apple trade, I think out to Jan 19 is up about 12 grand already, and that's about a $30,000 trade by the time we close it. All times are Eastern. Very, very good question. I should have put that on there. Wednesday at 1 o'clock, we're going to throttle back a little bit and do our accelerated retirement portfolio. Now, it sounds like accelerated retirement might be, you know, I don't know if that's for me, and some of you might be like, that's great. I don't want to trade weekly options. I hear they're like jet fuel. Well, guess what? Our accelerated retirement made triple-digit return last year, and I'll show you that in a little bit. After accelerated retirement, I'm going to open the doors to our 50 slots, and they usually about almost a third to half of them go that day, which is awesome. They did last time we did this. Wednesday night, I'm going to introduce my volatility arbitrage trader to you. His name is Doug Robertson, and he's going to do some vertical spread training. He's going to do kind of a demo session of what you're going to get when you become a full throttle trader. I think he does 8 sessions, like on Tuesdays and Thursday nights from 7 to 9 Eastern-ish, and it's great. He's a 500-pound head. And not because he's bald, he's got a 500-pound head, but that's part of it. Brilliant guy. The next morning, you're going to join him. Thursday morning, it's that demo do approach. He's an Army guy. Don't make fun of him. I'm a Navy guy. Demo do. Wednesday night, he's going to demonstrate some vertical spreads, some earnings trades. And then Thursday morning, live in the market, he's going to do. Demo do. And then Friday, or actually Thursday, he does kind of his advanced trade alert as well, kind of like my urgent alert. And then Friday, I'm going to do a weekly options live trade brief at 1, even though the market's closed, so I can debrief my weekly options trades for the week. And also, that's when the slots are most likely going to close. I think the last time we closed all 50 slots on Friday. So you're definitely going to sign up for that debrief as well. All right. Whew. That was the admin. Now it is time to get airborne. So here we go. Folks, at the end of the day, trading is a form of combat. Think about it. There's a winner and there's a loser. And hopefully, even if you just met me 15 minutes ago, I think you can tell what side of the trade I plan to be on. And that's going to be you saying that by the end of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. My name is Matthew Buckley, and my call sign is Wiz. And my parents didn't hate me, as far as I know. They didn't. That's not my Christian name, my God-given name. I earned that, and that was my call sign, flying the FA-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for over 15 years. I graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School, which many of you know as Top Gun, and I also flew 44 combat sorties over Iraq. All right, man, how the hell did you go from the cockpit to the trading pit? Well, that's a very good question, and that's why you're here tonight doing the in-doc, right? From the cockpit to the trading pit. But real quick question. Let me ask how you guys did last week in your trading. I want to read some of your comments. If you trade weekly options, let me know how you did, or just your portfolio in general. In a absolutely crazy week, how did you do last week during this? Susan Rice, who turned out to be even more of a liar than we know, right? This was Monday. Mike lost 10 grand. Holy crap. JP, you're a member, man. JP's a member, so of course he crushed it last week. Fish, of course you did. How about to my non-member Abdullah's? Not good. D, Larry, bad. I lost $300. Todd, $1,500. Awesome. Okay, did not trade last week. Poor. Only traded the Syria bombing. Did okay. All right, folks. Lost 0. Stalled out. Stable. All right, guys. Here's why I ask. Look at this. We started the week. Any one of these events in a vacuum would have been big for the week. Susan Rice. Hopefully she ends up in prison for 10 years. Devin Nunes, the head of the Intel committee, who's going to do all the investigations, He had to resign. Why? Because Democrats accused him of, when he went to the White House and shared some intel, of misdeeds. He's out. Wednesday, blowout numbers with ADP, the jobs report, 263,000. I mean, completely out of the park. I sold a bear call spread into that pop. I'll get into that on Wednesday. Why? Because by the afternoon, I made $1,100 because Janet Yellen's FOMC minutes came out and poo-pooed all over that, like a big halonic fire extinguisher. And does anybody remember last Wednesday? S&P's up 15 on ADP, and we closed down 7. I'll show you how I traded it. So Janet on Wednesday. Thursday, God bless America with the missile strikes, right? And then Friday, look at this. Supreme Court justice sworn in or got voted in. And then the morning, March payrolls crumble. 98,000. Wait a minute. ADP was it. That was Wednesday, man. Who cares? 98,000 jobs added. And then President Z and Trump. Look at the screen, folks. Look at how much was going on last week. Isn't that crazy? Wow. So whoever, Guderbo Duro. Get to the point, I'm leaving, thanks. Well, he's not here to hear me. I'm so glad you left because you wouldn't have signed up anyway. So check this out, folks. Last week on Thursday, I'm sitting at the Grand Lux here in Boca having a little date night with my princess there, eating lemon chicken, both of our favorites, and a glass of wine. Around 6 o'clock, take a look at the screen here. This is an email, and excuse some of the spelling errors. I was doing voice text into my phone. What time is it? 6:54. I'm like, hey, man, you might want to do a bullish double vertical on VXX. Why? I'm hearing through the trees, buddies up north, that they might lob some cruise missiles into Syria. That might send vol through the roof. Not ball, vol. And potential pullback through the 50-day moving average. He used the comment red lines yesterday when he gave Obama a lot of grief for using that language. He's got to act. So, oops, there we go. I'm keeping my powder dry for now. I think there might be a short-term cruise missile strike. Otherwise, he'll have egg on his face, blah, blah, blah. This was at 7:01, folks. Look at 9:23. What do I say to my coaching client down there? You see the news? So this is the type of access that you get with TGO. I knew the strike was coming, and here's how we did. You ready? 3 weekly options trades last week. A Goldman Sachs bear call spread that finished for an $1,100 profit. Here's the bear call spread that I sold on Wednesday morning when the ADP numbers popped. I sold this bear call spread. This made $1,100 in 4 hours. And then I put an iron condor on last week that ended up $3,300. 3 kills last week. 3 weekly options trades, 3 kills. We ended up with, our members, if they traded those contracts, $5,300 in profit in 1 week. And that's obviously on limited risk, okay? Currently I have an iron condor on SPX for tomorrow, or for Thursday, and I'll show you tomorrow morning. But there you go, folks. 1,100, 1,100, and 3,300-ish. So if you did better than that last week, send me your resume, and maybe we'll hire you. Most likely not. I live this stuff, folks, and you're going to get to know me very well. Look at this morning, folks. Weekly options, SPX bear call spread. The 2375, 2380 calls. When you become a member, these are the text alerts you get. Everybody take a look at the time there. 11:29. Take a look at the S&P 500 this morning, folks. You see 11:27, 20 or 28:20. This is when I sent out the text. This trade, look at that. This trade made $675 in 10 minutes. And currently, I legged into an iron condor. I sold a bull put spread. It's up almost $500 or 17% today. Okay? So I wanted to ask how you did last week because we're having an absolute blast. That was one of our best weeks so far year to date. $5,300, folks, and we could potentially make $2,900 or $3,000 by Thursday. Remember, Good Friday. So for those of you who wanted to know how I went from the cockpit to the trading pit, let me go giddy up speed here. Always wanted to fly for the Navy. I loved airplanes. I loved the sea. I grew up on the beach. Poor Irish Catholic kid, 1 of 6 in South Jersey, right outside of Atlantic City. 4 of my brothers and sisters were born up in Philly, South Philly. My parents moved to South Jersey, and my little sister and I were born. So always loved the sea, always was told to serve others above yourself, and so went in the Navy. But Always loved finance. I'd sit, my dad went in a suit and coat and tie before he went to work in the morning. He'd be reading, the Journal or the Atlantic City Press and all those hieroglyphics on the back page. I'm like, Dad, what are those? He said, well, those are stock prices, son. And he'd explain all the little symbols, and hopefully I have enough people in here who know what I'm talking about in the newspaper. And he explained it to me, like that Happy Meal you ate the other day at McDonald's, if you own the stock, it could go up and stuff like that. So it is... Kavan, yeah, if you add the Amazon, Facebook, and Apple trades last week, it was more like $9 grand. I didn't. I just showed the weekly options trades. But folks, I always was interested in finance. So when I started to fly the Hornet as a young officer, I started to apply everything I learned flying a fighter jet, having a strategy, implementing a tactic, contingency planning, knowing when to get out of a bad situation before it got worse, or knowing when to get out of a good situation before it got worse, okay? And above all, not being emotional. If I look down and I see a low fuel light, I head home. I don't say, I can stretch it a little more, because that's when you flame out and get killed. So everything I'm going to teach you this week, you don't need to have served a day in the military, folks. It ain't rocket surgery, folks. If I can do it, you can do it. Okay, so I transferred all these methodologies to my trading. But how did Top Gun Options come about? Well, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pretty bad tragedy. On the morning of September 11th, 2001, I was scheduled for my first flight as a pilot for American Airlines. I was living in Dallas, Fort Worth. I was living in just north of Fort Worth in Keller, Texas, and I was also flying F-18s for these guys right here, Strike Fighter Squadron 201. Saw or heard that the plane hit the World Trade Center. Go out, look at the TV, boom. Saw the second airplane hit. Immediately in my mind, I'm like, that's an attack. I ran in there into the bedroom. I pushed my brand new American Airlines uniform out of the way, still wrapped in plastic. Grabbed my worn, crusty flight suit and almost broke my neck on my boots. Hopped in my old '89 Porsche, and I broke the land speed record getting out to Naval Air Station, Fort Worth, Texas. One of my buddies made it out there from our squadron, and we went next door to the TANG, the Texas Air National Guard, and they had 4 guys that made it out there, and we were talking to NORAD. As we're briefing to get airborne, plane hit the Pentagon, and then the plane went down in Pennsylvania, all that stuff. So I went potentially from flying in an airliner that day to shooting one down, to potentially shooting down a squadron mate. So that was it for my long airline career. I got a photocopied letter a couple days later that said, "Dear crew member, you're furloughed," which is a polite airline term for you're laid off. I got to be honest with you, folks, but hey, time to get serious. A hell of a lot more people had it worse off than I did. It was time to get serious. So I started getting serious about what up until that point had been a hobby, my options trading. So I said, you know what, let's go. I got mouths to feed and mortgages to pay. I also started speaking to companies about the same type of things: corporate strategy, debriefing, red teaming, contingency planning, all of that stuff, and it worked incredibly well. And guess who I started rubbing elbows with? Take a look at some of the folks on the screen there. Biotech, technology, healthcare, electric, financials, agriculture, telecommunications. Look at this stuff, folks. It is phenomenal what I saw. Now, to be honest with you, I'm a fiduciary to any company that I work with in consulting or speaking. I do keynotes literally around the globe. So I can't trade in these names. I will never tell you what's going on in these names. But guess what? Just like I knew the missile strike was coming, because let's say I have a lot of buddies still around that still wear the uniform, this gives me what we call SA, situational awareness. I know in these industries who's hiring, who's firing, who's acquiring, who's going up, who's going down, and I get to pass that on to you guys, which is an incredible benefit. And so, folks, if you're getting trading advice, or I call it Comedy Central, if you're watching CNBC, folks, you deserve to lose every dollar that you put on whatever these people say, man. I mean, seriously, I had a buddy on the floor in Chicago say, hey, man, if you're taking stock advice from a guy who uses an air bell or a cowbell and an air horn, yeah, you deserve what's going to happen to you. Here's what happened, folks. I got picked up. I popped up on the radar of one of the largest volatility arbitrage equity options trading firms in the world. Little old me. Check this out. This is literally a funny moment here. Let me show you these this right here. This is called, and this is the intersection of Jackson and LaSalle. Everybody knows this, right? This is the famous Chicago Board of Trade. You see these big windows right here? This is called Peak 6 Investments. I got picked up to be the managing director of strategy for Peak 6 Investments. Yeah, trust me. I felt like Valentine in Trading Places, man. I was like, are you kidding me? You know, I thought these two rich white people were betting $1 over me, and turns out they both lost, because here we are. So went there. I was essentially the managing director, the executive officer, if you will, of a $2.5 billion vol arb firm in Chicago. And then after started doing that for a year and a half, I became the founder and CEO of the Options News Network. Many of you remember ONN.TV. We shot on the floor of the CBOE, the CBOT, and gave retail traders such as yourself behind-the-scenes access as to what's going on in the options world. Had an absolute blast doing that. But I got to, no offense, anybody from Chicago here? Raise your hand if you're from Chicago. Pete, Steve, Rebecca, sorry to hear that. Well, sorry to hear that. No, hey, man, Chicago winters are best left for people other than me, so no offense. Mike, sorry. Yeah, it's I'd rather be down here in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale, where I'm the commanding officer of a pretty cool squadron there. Mark, sorry guys. All right, now we're going to get airborne. That was me. You're not going to hear too much about that background again for the rest of the week. You guys who showed up, you got it. Now you know who I am. Okay, now let's really get airborne with the meat of tonight. Top Gun Options, 7 years of service. This is our 7th year in business here. And in the financial training space, that's saying a lot, because a lot of these snake oil crappy plate, well, they get what's coming to them. But we've been here 7 years, and we've had hockey stick growth. We train, as I said, we don't educate it, literally thousands, maybe over 10,000 traders and investors of all experience levels. For some of my Marine buddies on here who might not even know how to spell the word options, Semper Fi, or if you're sitting here like, well, Wiz, I'm a Jedi master. I can trade a reverse triangle butterfly calendar with a covered call, put, spread. I made that up, but you see what I'm saying. Everything you're going to learn tonight and the rest of the week is combat tested, and I proved it on Wall Street. All of these methodologies. That demo do approach. I'm going to demonstrate our trade plan tonight, for example. We're going to do tomorrow in the primary live trade brief, okay? Now, I know a lot of you are chomping at the bit like, okay, dude, this sounds great. You probably do need a little less Red Bull. Arthur, I did not want to live in, I lived out in Napertucky, and I live in Boca Raton and Fort Lauderdale right now. Take a guess. And I always wanted to run my own financial firm, and here I am. So check this out, folks. Our best returns on risk were in 2016. But I'm going to show you one of my portfolios tonight that is already halfway to our return from 2016, our urgent alert and the weekly options model portfolio. Smoking it. You ready? And for those of you that are sitting there going, man, I wish I could be in a hedge fund. Take a look at the average. This was 2,500 hedge funds. How'd they do last year? 6.2% return. Look at their best year in the past 5 years. 11% return. Okay, everybody hold on to those returns. You ready? Here's the primary live trade brief model portfolio. A 125% return on risk last year. $188,000. Now let me tell you about the model portfolios that I manage. I manage 4 of them, and you're going to get access to all of them. This when you become a member. They start as $100,000 model portfolios. Okay, why 100? Wiz, I got 10, I got $1 million, I got 100,000, we actually have a billionaire here, or I have $1 grand. Folks, that's none of my business. I don't give investment advice. Here at TGO, we do training. It's like you're standing on the floor of the CBOE, eavesdropping over my shoulder and watching how I trade. What you do on your side of the computer is, in your bunny slippers, is your own business, and you need to talk to an RIA, a CFP, all the people with the spaghetti, with the alphabet after them, to see if options are even right for you. But these are $100,000 model portfolios and 125% return on risk last year. Now, look at this. There is, to the right, a slider bar. I will show you all the losing trades in this portfolio. Didn't fit on the slide. Now look at this slide. There are losers. This is the urgent alert and weekly options model portfolio. 121 grand. 106% return on risk. And here, I have to show you this. This is my embarrassing portfolio in 2016. 100 grand. This is the accelerated retirement portfolio. Our JP Morgan trades are crushing it. I'll show you that on Wednesday. Okay, so let me show you right now, because again, men lie, numbers don't. Here is the urgent alert and weekly options model portfolio year to date. 57. Wait, we're not even to June yet. We're not even halfway through the year, and that one's at 57. Welcome aboard TGO. All right, so there's performance. I hate doing this. Marketing folks are always like, you got to put that at the beginning to keep their attention. I'd rather not put this out at all and maybe save it to tomorrow morning because it is tonight about the methodology, our trade plan we're going to go through, and that acronym, not fear. I'd rather focus on that, but here's all the people who wanted to split like, oh, okay, now I'll stay. I don't get along with those people too well. Now I gotta get this out here for all the attorneys in the audience, or the people who aren't smart. No offense, or actually offense intended to attorneys. I'm kidding, folks. We lose some battles, man. The objective is to win the war. We obviously have losing trades. If you ever show up, you're not going to go anywhere else because you found a home here. I guarantee you by Friday. But if you do go somewhere else, if you go to one of these things and the guy or gal talks about how brilliant they are and they've never had a losing trade, click the X in the top right and split. It's a lie. That's an absolute lie. Who was it? Lenny Dykstra at TheStreet.com. Isn't he in jail or something like that? Losing trades happen, guys. Losing trades happen. The key is to try and minimize risk. You ready? Let me channel my inner Rumsfeld. I hated the guy, but he had a good quote. There are known knowns in combat and in trading, right? Things we know we know. There are known unknowns. Things we know we don't know. And then this is the best part. There are unknown unknowns. Things we don't know that we don't know. Let me give you a perfect example. I've been watching Google L. You guys know the difference between the A and C shares. Perfect iron condor. Monday in our weekly options live trade brief at 1, I put on this iron condor, looking great. 4:15, I'm on the treadmill in the gym down the street, and I'm watching Comedy Central for the entertainment value. Breaking news, Google has changed its name to Alphabet, and the stock's up 5% after hours. Boom. Completely blown out of the trade. You know what my first reaction was? To laugh. Okay? To laugh. Wiz, you probably lost like $4,000 or $5,000 on that. Yeah. Those happen. If I had known Google was about to change its name, I was insider trading and I should be in jail. Nobody knew that except them. So understand that those unknown unknowns do happen. Okay? So this, they have to happen. Here's a perfect example but I try and let these not happen. That's a missile, folks, that just reaches you out of the blue. Let me tell you a little something dark humorish about naval aviation, about fighter pilots. If a buddy of ours gets smoked, and it's because of something they could have predicted or they knew about, we'll still toast them at the memorial service, but we'll go we'll whisper to each other, they deserve to die. That might sound brutal to you, but it's the truth. Life's tough. It's even tougher if you're stupid. But if they got hit by a missile, that 1 in a million man, no intel didn't see that, the agency satellites, he didn't see it, she didn't see it, we'll toast them and we'll break some stuff in their memory, okay? But for example, Greg's like, hey man, in FXI, that's the China ETF we trade. Soon as the Trump and the Chinese guy after the election started trading broadsides, I said, guys, FXI is going to pull back. Let's get out now. Greg, I took my $4,900 profit on the first day you said to bail out. Nice advice. Okay, so losing trades happen, but hopefully we can get out of them and still make some money. Okay, so for all the attorneys in the room, there it is. And for all the people from New Jersey like I am, losing trades happen. Okay. You're exactly right, guys. Good comments in here. Okay, let's do this. So here's the methodology, folks. It's funny. It's great to hear this put back to me in a lot of different places. Strategic, operational, and tactical. For the rest of the week, here's how we're going to brief. And folks, this works in combat and trading. The average retail trader, we have like we have over 1,000 people in this room. Yes, we text alerts internationally. We have folks, we have TGO traders. After the last full throttle, we added 2 more countries. Was it Belarus and What was the newest? We have 37 countries represented here, folks. So yes, whoever asked that. The average retail trader, folks, you wake up, you put on your bunny slippers, take a sip of coffee, and you're watching CNBC. You don't even know what you're doing for lunch, let alone by Friday, by the front month, or out to Jan 19. That ain't us, folks. Tomorrow morning, for example, at 10 o'clock, I'm going to give you a strategic brief. What is going around the globe? Economically, politically, what's the last word? Militarily. Why do we care about that, Wiz? Are you kidding me? Serious strike. The Carl Vinson Battle Group just did a U-turn, folks. They were heading to a port call in Australia and did a U-turn. There's about 15,000 Americans who want to put a bullet in their head. Folks, that was me on the USS Abraham Lincoln, 4 months in the Persian Gulf. All right, guys, we're heading to Australia for a port call. Saddam rattled his saber. We turned around and we missed Australia. Awful. But anyway, you have to look at the military picture as well. I have not heard one word, or actually when we launch missiles, you know, that's when CNBC cares about, oh, military stuff. Are you kidding me? We'll talk about the guy in the, you know, cream of some young guy in the north there. But I have to brief you on all of these issues. When you're in a live trading session with me, pretend you're an admiral or a general sitting there with your cigar, listening to some lieutenant giving you your daily intel brief, folks. You need to know this. What was it, 2 years ago? Holy crap, why is my portfolio imploding? Why do I care about Greece? Well, you did for about a month and a half as your portfolio got battered around. We traded weekly options to the tune of $35,000 in profits with the Greek stuff, right? Oh my God, they're going to throw us out of the Eurozone. No, they're not. Get bullish. Yay, they've agreed to do everything. Greece is going to cut everything and be austere. No, they're not. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. So you need a strategic brief. It's about 15 minutes, folks. And then we get operational. Okay? DC, absolutely not. We'll talk about account size here in a little bit. Not even close to being a fish out of water. You're exactly where you need to be. That's a good account size. Then I'm going to peel the onion, folks, and it's going to be the operational level. What do you mean? What's going on with the Fed? What are the futures looking like? Earnings. How are earnings looking? Core durable goods. What's the Fed going to do with interest rates? Did Trump send out a tweet this morning on Boeing again? We talk about the United States. And then, and only then, ladies and gentlemen, can you get tactical and trade. An iron condor, a covered call, buying puts. Don't ever call those a strategy again. You're using the wrong terminology. A strategy, folks, is saving for college, saving for retirement, short-term income generation. Wiz, I want to buy a boat in 6 months. Those are strategies. Tactics, an iron condor, a long call diagonal, synthetic stock. Those are tactics. Got it? Light bulb. Don't ever call them an option strategy again. There is no such thing. And if you do go trade somewhere else and he or she uses my favorite option strategy is this, it's the wrong term. Those are tactics, okay? Trading's a form of combat, folks. At the end, somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, and I can guarantee you it ain't going to be us, okay? Write this acronym down or start taking notes. Here we go. It's getting meatier, and we are right on the flight schedule. Looking good. Not fear 2017. Now, each one of these letters means something, and I'm going to brief you on it. So you don't have to fear 2017, trust me. First of all, as an options trader, who the hell cares whether the market goes up, down, or sideways? Now, as an American, I care if the market implodes because then neighbors and this and things suck, right? People aren't happy. I'm fine because I'm printing money. But here's the acronyms. You ready? The N in not fear is North Korea, folks. Ask my current members. What have I been beating a drum on for before it spooled up? This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody remember what Bill Clinton did? He sent Madeleine Albright on an airplane. She went to North Korea, I think. Shook hands type of thing. How'd Bill Clinton do? How'd George Bush do with North Korea? What the hell do you think is going to happen with North? This ain't going to end with that dude backing down or our dude backing down. President Z, when he met 15 miles up the road here on I-95 in Palm Beach, he got an ear full of Trump saying, hey, by the way, over dinner, I just launched cruise missiles into Syria. You don't handle North Korea, we will. They get a nuke that can hit the West Coast, it's over with. Yeah, folks, North Korea, or I just saw reported, and a buddy of mine maybe shot me an email, said that 150,000 Chinese troops are on the northern border with North Korea. How does this end, ladies and gentlemen? Do you think it ends with Karimo, some young guy, saying, oh, you know what, I'll give up my nukes? He said that about 80 times, so we give him food and money. He never did. He wants a nuke because he knows he doesn't want to end up like Saddam Hussein at the end of a rope. So ladies and gentlemen, you have got to be hedged for this type of event. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to hit the T next in not fear. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't do too many victory laps. I'm going to do it on this one. We were one of the only financial firms to predict this. Go back to the fall and you can watch all my recordings. When you become a member, we freaking nailed this. Goldman Sachs, Citi, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley all predicted a Clinton win, right? She's walking away with it. Up until 2 days before. 2 days before, Citi put out a report that says, and if Trump did win, the market will go down 20%. I said they are all lying. I told all my, how did I know, folks? I'm a speaker. I'm a consultant. I spent the fall doing speeches for folks. You know what would happen at the cocktail party after a keynote I'd give? I'd have people come up to me, shake my hand, and they'd lean in and look at me and look to their left and look to the right and go, I'm voting for Trump. And I'm like, they're looking around like somebody's going to hit them in the head with the shovel. I knew the polls were lying. I knew it all the time, folks. I set up the trades appropriately, and I'm going to show you how some of our members did with the trades that I recommended. This was a layup. Yep, Bank, Goldman Sachs, all these guys. So, folks, Jeff, what's his name? Mr. Wonderful on CNBC, and then Jeffrey Gunlock. I can count on one hand the number of people who not only predicted a Trump victory, but the rally. I did, folks, and we printed money. And I'll show you. Take a look at this, folks. One of our JP Morgan trades. Whoops, not that one. JP Morgan trades right here. $33,000. Okay, $33,000 trade in 15 months. It averaged about $2,300 per month. I'll show you one of the other ones tomorrow. Look at that thing, man. $35,000 profit in 15 months. We'll get to more of the Trump stuff later, obviously. And we've nailed the rest of it, from the inauguration to the Obamacare fiasco, everything. We've been doing great. The O in not fear is oil. Everybody remember last January and February, not the one that just happened. Remember oil going to 29, 26 bucks and what that did to your portfolio? You've got to be keeping an eye on oil, and I'll do that for you when you're a member, okay? So the F in fear is the Fed, okay? Janet, look at what happened last Wednesday, folks. We made 1,100 bucks, one trade, 4 hours, a weekly options trade, because she poo-pooed all over the great ADP numbers. And the ADP numbers turned out to be a joke based on the non-farm payroll on Friday, but I laugh, I digress. The Fed's going to be dialing up the air conditioner, folks, here with interest rates, right? She might get what's next, the June meeting? She might get 2 to 3 this year, folks, but that non-farm payroll on Friday, that was 98 grand. You didn't see Trump doing any victory laps or tweeting about how great jobs were this month or last month, did you? But anyway, the Fed. And also financials. Write this down, folks. These are the financials I trade. Goldman Sachs. There is a revolving door right now between Washington and Goldman Sachs. There are 5 people. There are 2 cabinet secretaries and 3 other heavies in the cabinet or in Trump. We have a Goldman Sachs put, right? JP Morgan. You got to be bullish on JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon was Trump's first phone call. He wanted him to be Treasury Secretary or Commerce. Jamie Dimon said what? No, I'd have to take too big of a pay cut, and by the way, I might run for president. And then Morgan Stanley is kind of my bronze medalist. But listen to me, folks. The financials have had a hell of a run since the election. I'm going to show you how some of our members did. But on this little pullback after the Obamacare fiasco, it is a gift to get in the financials, and we're going to cover that tomorrow in the primary live trade brief. Take a look at this, and this gives me an opportunity to grab a sip of water. I'm going to put this up on the screen, and I want you to read these. Okay, you ready? Read those first, and let me grab some water. So Mike, and this is an older one because Mike actually was up $135,000 before he scaled out of Goldman Sachs a couple weeks ago. Mike, and he traded 20 contracts on my one. I traded 5. And again, folks, and I'll show you tomorrow live in the market. Maybe we'll take a look at a Goldman Sachs trade. Chuck, 16 grand in 2 months. Al, 6. So even if you're like, holy crap, Wiz, he traded 20 contracts? Of course he's up 135 grand. No, he isn't, of course. That was a good trade. 1 contract. Al, 6 grand. Chuck Smith, oops, let me go back one. Now look at Diane down here, 35 grand, 5 contracts since September. Tom, Harry's another 20 contract guy, 60 grand. Tom was 11.5 with 3 contracts with a November Goldman Sachs trade. So folks, the financials still have room to run. JP Morgan is a gift below 90. Goldman Sachs is a gift around here around 230, period. Remember, folks, when interest rates are high, stocks will die. When interest rates are low, stocks will grow. Okay, Wiz, well, we've been in a near zero rate interest environment. No wonder stocks have been growing. But they're going to start sucking wind if the cost of money goes up. Yeah, of course, except for financials, folks. Keep in mind, when interest rates go up, that gets passed on to financials. They start ringing the cash register. And the fact that Steve Mnuchin, I know Steve Mnuchin, I've had dinner with him, full disclosure, the Treasury Secretary. I'm the underachiever of the family, folks. My sister, her name is Kia Buckley. She runs Dune Capital in New York. Steve Mnuchin was there. Khan, I think, was there. So full interest disclosure, I know the guy. But these guys are going to gut Frankendodd. Get rid of that crappy financial regulation, not getting back to 2008, the Wild West, right? We don't want that to happen again. But that is going to help the financials. The guys, they're a jack in the box. The financials, yeah, they kind of popped a little bit. They're going to go again. If you're sitting here going, I missed the financials after the election, you didn't. Okay, the E into fear is Europe. Okay, is Europe. So the Brexit, everybody remember that Brexit? Man, we nailed that. We traded VXX. I got the Brexit wrong. It was a coin flip. I looked at the polls. I'm like, knowing the Brits will probably stay. But then Obama went over there and poked him in the chest. Everybody remember that? Check out the hubris of that guy. Remember he went over like a week before the vote and said, hey, man, you guys better stay because I don't, you go to the back of the line for any trade deal just with us. So, and the Brits, I think, got their nose pretty well out of joint. I should have predicted that. Didn't matter that I got the Brexit wrong. We got it right with volatility. Volatility went through the roof. We put on bullish double verticals. And if you don't know what that trade is, you're going to have a great time this week learning a new tactic. Vol went through the roof. And then after the vote happened, it's known, right? When something is known, it's known. Remember, volatility is a balloon. Oh my God, uncertainty, uncertainty, uncertainty. They voted. Let go of the balloon. We did bearish double verticals on VXX. We made 22,000, I did, in our portfolios around the Brexit. So even if I got the event wrong, I'm like, oh, they left. I was wrong. There's 22 cha-chings. Mario. He's something we have to keep on our radar as well. He's thinking about taking away the punch bowl, just like, what's his name? Bank of Japan Governor Kuroda over in Japan. Okay? So after that is earnings. The other E is earnings. I think we're going to have a hell of a Q1, and I haven't said that in a while. We've past 5 to 6 earnings periods, folks, it's been squishy. It's been soft, share buybacks, all that crap. But now I think the engine is starting to hit on all cylinders. But don't forget about those share buybacks, folks. We're going to talk, we'll probably take a look at an Apple position tomorrow, a long call diagonal with a protective put. Like I said, the one in our primary portfolio is up about 12 grand in 4 months, 4 or 5 months. It's doing great. If Apple gets to return the $250 quadrillion they have in County Cork, Ireland, and can bring that to the U.S., folks, yeah, of course, Carl Icahn's going to say, hey, buy back some shares. But they could buy people, acquire, come up with a time machine. Being able to, I forgot to say that with the financial slide. Lowering the taxes, folks, it's got to get done. That's kind of, I'll show you the S&P 500 chart in a little bit. To the white space on the chart, I'm going to tell you what I'm worried about. There it is. Well, tax cuts, regulatory cuts, and bring the cash back home. Okay? The A into fear is Asia, folks. Japan, talking about getting nuclear weapons, and hey, USA, if you don't take care of North Korea, we'll do it. If you recall, 2-3 weeks ago, the 4 missiles that North Korea launched, does anybody know what the trajectories were? What were the trajectories of the 4 missiles launched 2 weeks ago? And it's funny, folks, because I get a couple emails or, from members and stuff. They're like, Wiz, we actually get our news. We don't watch the news. We get our news from you. Anybody remember who says it? One of them was Larry and Randall. Yep. Folks, the 4 missiles, one was pointed at Guam. What's in Guam? 40,000 service personnel and their families in the military. One was pointed at Okinawa, Marine Corps Air Station, Iwakuni, another 40,000 troops. And the other 2 missiles were pointed at Tokyo, and I forget the other city. So the trajectory, yeah, they landed in the Sea of Japan, Harry, but guess what? The trajectory sent a message like, I'm going to shoot at these guys if you come after me. So we have to worry about that. But the other part of Asia is obviously China. I'm going to show you some of our long call diagonals and synthetic stock positions tomorrow on FXI. Take a look at that if you've never heard of FXI or you don't trade FXI. There it is, and we need to, we're going to trade that. Remember, folks, I know Trump's trying to get a fair trade deal. Everything that goes that way is what, 30% tax? Everything coming this way, joy to the world. That doesn't work. But remember, folks, China technically kind of owns us, man. They are a shareholder in the United States. They own, at last count, was it $1.1 trillion in our debt? They are tied with Japan as the #1 holder of our foreign debt. So if you can't be bullish on your banker, who are you going to be bullish on? And before I get to the next slide, let me say something. First of all, I sailed through those disputed waters where China's, picked up dirt from China, sailed 600 miles off their coast to an atoll in the Pacific at low tide, dumped all the dirt there, made a runway, planted their flag, and said, from here back to there is China. Nice job, Obama. World War III, most likely, if it doesn't start in Iran and Israel, will start in the Pacific. We will have a new world war in the Pacific because Obama failed to do anything about the Chinese building. Literally, folks, that's like us going off the coast of Key West, 600 miles and saying, and dropping our flag and go, yeah, all these, yeah, this is all U.S. territory now. It's going to get very, very ugly very soon in the Pacific, folks. All Philippines, Korea, this, Malaysia, all these 6 countries claim all of this stuff. Now, before I get to the R in not fear, I got to tell you something. This, first of all, being bullish on China makes my skin crawl. This is really going to make my skin crawl, but then it doesn't. And let me give you a visual real quick, folks. At Top Gun Options, I wear 2 suits. Kind of. I wear a flight suit, right? I'm a former naval officer. During my career, I buried 11 of the finest men this country has ever known. So I take my Americanness very, very seriously, as you're going to find out. But so I'll tell you how I feel about stuff. But I also wear a $6,000 Armani suit like Gordon Gekko, right? I don't. I wouldn't. If I ever spent $6,000 on a suit, I'd kick my own ass. Figuratively, folks, meaning I'm Gordon Gekko, and I really don't care. Russia. My R into fear is Russia. Okay? Wait a minute, whoa, Wiz, you're long-term bullish on Russia? Yeah. Let me go Gordon Gekko. You have got to be bullish on a dude and a country that's doing whatever they want. What did Obama do when he invaded Crimea, along with Angela Merkel? They wagged their finger and said, stop, or we'll say stop again. Yeah, okay, well, that's not going to, that really scares me. Now let me take over eastern Ukraine. Oh, you really better stop, or we'll say stop again. Let me shoot down a civilian airliner with 310 people on it. Imagine being at 37,000 feet, folks, and all of a sudden be screaming as you fall, or actually you freeze to death and you suffocate. It's brutal. But I got to tell you, folks, you got to be bullish on a guy that does whatever he wants. We'll talk about the ruble. It's an oil trade too, folks. Obviously, they're not a member of OPEC. They could invade OPEC. But as a flight suit wearing guy, he was a KGB colonel, folks. I was literally trained when I was going through flight school. If he was a JB, if we were war, I put a bullet in his head. So it's wearing my flight suit. I hate being bullish on Russia, but as a portfolio manager, I don't care. It's one of the reasons I left Wall Street, folks. Somebody asked, you know, why'd you leave Chicago and Peak 6 and stuff? One of the things is, first of all, I took a shower, but at the end of the day, it wasn't the people, man. Here at Top Gun Options is a perfect example. I put the ladder down, man. Wall Street's full of a lot of people who pull the ladder up, and, you know, I got mine. So at the end of the day, you know, I can sleep at night. EZ, when are you going to stop politicizing and start trading? EZ, after you leave right now. That's when I'm going to do it. And when was the last? That was another good one. I briefed you on on that, EZ. Tonight is not trading. I'm about to get into my trade plan, and then we're going to be on tonight. So if you want to split EZ, you're probably not going to become a member anyway. Herman, let's not blame Obama. The Republican Congress were in control for 6 years. Herman, when it comes to Crimea and Eastern Ukraine, what did you want the Congress to do? John McCain actually called. Here's what Obama did, Herman. He sent blankets and meals ready to eat to Ukraine. Easy left. See you, bro. So Maurice, I really don't want to. I don't want to hear that because Obama did nothing for the Ukrainians. They asked for military help, technology. We're not going to send our military there. Send them stuff to at least even the fight. It's an embarrassment. They wanted to join NATO, Herman, and Obama said no. It was not the Republicans' fault, period. All right, guys, we got to move. So right now, so here's what we did. I introduced who I am, got rid of a couple weak folks. Our background here at TGO, our performance. I told you where I'm targeting in 2017, and now we're going to get into our methodology. So pull out the trade plan. Everybody down here in the handouts, right? Everybody see the handout? You should have gotten a trade plan as soon as you opted in to TGO. You got the options pocket checklist and the trade plan. So pull it out right now because we're going to get airborne here, okay? So everybody, the snowflakes are melting. Nicholas, as you said in the beginning, politics play a big role. Love your analysis, the bigger picture, solid stuff so far was. Thank you. You know, Herman, so Trump is better. Trump is better. Herman, did you hear me say Trump is better once? Herman, I'd love for you to join because I slammed Trump when he sucks. And he sucked a lot lately. So don't, folks, just so you're clear here, I'm a libertarian, man. I'd rather go live on a ranch in Montana up in the mountains and not deal with anybody. The government should not be in 98% of the things they are, Herman. So I will bash the hell out of Trump. He's done a lot of stupid stuff, Herman. I'm not saying Trump is better. I'm telling you as a fact what Obama failed to do in Ukraine. Those are facts. Okay, man? So let's press. Here's the trade plan. As I said, in the window you're looking at me in, or the other window, there's a little camera. So you can take screenshots as we go through the trade plan. Why am I giving you this? I'm giving you this because I used to be you. 25 years ago, I drove out to the airport Marriott, and some guy with a Breitling watch on and a really bad knockoff Armani suit said from the stage, "These are calls and these are puts. You need a trade plan. And then before you leave, if you pay 10 grand, you know, we'll teach you how to trade options." I'm like, give me a trade plan. All of you who have been searching the desert for a trade plan, here it is. This thing went from combat to Wall Street, and you're going to use this for the rest of your options trading career, whether you join us here at TGO or not. So, why are you selling? Mike, I kind of covered that, folks. Mike, I'm, first of all, I'm the Chief Development Officer of a hedge fund, which you technically can't market, so that isn't marketing. I'm answering your question here, man. So I do. I'll leave it at that. But I got to be honest with you, whoever asked that question, I have an absolute blast at TGO. I could be trading a 7-8 figure options portfolio for a hedge fund. I have zero interest in doing that, folks. I was an F-18 instructor. I was an adversary instructor pilot. So you know the bad guys in Top Gun, like Jester and the other guy, Viper and Jester. I love being an instructor. I love teaching. I had my time in Chicago, folks, where I printed money. I got mine. Like I just told you, I'm a military guy, folks. I put the ladder down. How many more garages do you need? And whoever asked that question, let me tell you about one of the greatest men you'd ever not meet, and he's my father. Somebody's always got a bigger boat, okay? So Mike, my dad always said that. You know, Matthew, somebody's always got a bigger boat. It ain't about the money, Mike. I enjoy this. I have a blast. Let me read some of these. Sailor Rob, audience, Wiz is the real deal. Been a member since 9/17. Pay attention, you will learn and make money. Hooyah. Fish, you work for us little people. Thanks, Fish. So, Maurice, are you okay? I came on late and seen ranting. I must have missed something. Maurice, I am great, man. I'm enjoying it and I'm having fun. Eddie Sullivan, love your politics. Keep going. So no, because somebody asked, like, hey, dude, why aren't you running, like, if you're getting triple-digit returns? First of all, I do, but I don't. Guys, I have zero interest in sitting in front of this thing for 8 hours a day. I don't need to run in the portfolios here at TGO. I loved my time in Chicago, but I am not a guy that wants to sit at a desk and be anchored to his trading screen Monday through Friday. I did that, and you don't have to do that here at TGO. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, here we go, guys. Trade plan. And then we're right on flight schedule here. We might even be under an hour and a half, so that's awesome. I thought I'd have a little bit more snowflake engagement. No, Mike, that's a great question, because some of these, Sam, they're not rude. I'd be asking the same question, but remember, some people get very keyboard cowboyish. I'll leave it at that. So step one of our trade plan, folks, and I'm going to go through each one of these steps in detail, is to develop your strategic mindset. Next thing is to develop and pick your target, and that's simply the stock or ETF. You have to come up with commit criteria, determine your tactic, how you're going to employ it, what kind of mid-course guidance does this trade need, and then when am I getting out? Okay, so here we go. Let's go into each step, step by step. And everybody has the PDF over here, the download, right? Seth, yes, everything is, this is outstanding. Thank you, Seth. This is recorded and it will be put on the replay page. Yes. All right, guys, here we go. So let me, wait, step one, that shouldn't be hidden. Step one is your strategic mindset. You can only be four things, folks, when it comes to trading. Before you place any trade, you have to think strategically. If you just place a trade, that's like, instead of coming up with a win the war in Iraq, this is, okay, I'm going to hold this building for the next 4 hours. What is your strategic mindset? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you think the market's going to be volatile? Holy Batman last week, right? Or are you neutral? Do you think we're going to trade sideways? Let me give you an example of all four of these, okay? And you can have variations of them. Let me show you exactly what I am right now. Let me pull up this S&P 500 chart right here. Everybody see this, right? So I'm going to give you my mindset, okay? So let's take a look at this. Kat, I forget where it is on the MacBook. Somebody, one of my members who uses a Mac, tell me where the little camera thing is, because I know it's not where for some of the folks on MacBook. Ladies and gentlemen, here is an example of my strategic mindset right now. You ready for it? Is cautiously bullish. JR says it is on the top right. Okay? Top right. There you go. All right, Kat. It should be under handouts, guys. There's a little, I see a little menu that says handouts, and the PDF is under there. And Scott's saying Control-Shift, number 3 gives you a screenshot on the Mac. Look at the mutual support here, man. We got a lot of good stuff, folks. We're going to have a good week. So my strategic mindset right now, ladies and gentlemen, is cautiously bullish. That sounds a little political, Wiz. It ain't. The cautiously, I'm going to show you the hedges that I have on, meaning I ain't going to fly over Iraq without an ejection seat. I got some hedges on, okay? The bullish is, folks, we're going up. I used this analogy today at a round table at 1 o'clock. I think I can tell by the questions in here, most of us are pretty savvy, or at least grew up around the same time or at the same age. Does everybody remember watching The Price is Right? Everybody remember that one game? I love this game. The yodeler guy, the mountain climber. He's like a mountain climber going up this thing yodeling. And if you guess the price right, he kind of stopped every once in a while, and if you didn't, he fell off. Good, people are laughing. So yes, the yodel, I love that thing. You have to be cautiously bullish. Now here's a perfect example. You see December through the end of January, this was neutral. Remember me saying you can be bullish? I'm cautiously bullish. Here's neutral, right? Here's bearish. Holy crap, the election's coming and the market implodes. That's bearish. And then now we're starting to see a little volatility creep in. I'll talk about the VIX tomorrow, guys. Don't even ask me. It's on the flight schedule. I'll talk about it. But if you print this screen out here, let me talk about if the yodeler, if the mountain climber guy is going to fall off here. We are hugging along this 50-day moving average, and I showed you the iron condor. I got an iron condor, a weekly trade on right now, that if it expires Thursday afternoon, we're making $2,900 on $4,700 a risk. It's the 23.45, 23.70 are the short strikes. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning. I just wanted to show you that because, well, Wiz, that's pretty tight. Look at the trading here, guys. We're hugging this 50-day moving average, man, and the market has become increasingly binary. What does that mean? And again, this is a rocket surgeon talking. We're either going to go up or we're going to go down. And if we're going down, it's because of, you seen this white space out here? I wish I could write on my screen here, but put North Korea, put Syria, put Iran, and put Trump agenda in danger. So to the downside, right in this airspace down here, those are the four things that could make us roll over. Now to the up space, what could make us cautiously bullish, Wiz? This is the hope and change rally, and it ain't Obama's, meaning this rally since his election that I nailed is based on the hope that he can get tax reform done, he can gut financial regulation, he can do the infrastructure spending. Now we're stalled out. This holy crap moment with he couldn't get Obamacare repealed. Are you kidding me, Republicans? So whoever was giving me grief about giving Obama grief, here it comes. Republicans suck. Are you kidding me, guys? We voted 60 times under Obama to repeal Obamacare. And when you are in charge, you can't? Go back to your villages, you idiots. I digress. So this freaked the market out. Wait a minute. If this guy can't repeal Obamacare and replace it, can he do the rest of his agenda? If, after some cruise missiles and getting Neil Gorsuch confirmed, the market took a little bit of a, okay, this guy might actually be to get something done. So us doing full throttle this week, folks, is great because we're either going one way or the other, folks, okay? So to the upside, to the cautiously bullish, I see Trump getting his agenda, and I see good Q1 earnings. Well, Wiz, it sounds like there's a lot more downside risk here. Folks, that's the Eeyore in me. That's the F-18 Hornet pilot. Before I'm going to show you how to look at a trade, you only look at max loss first. You never look at max profit. We'll do this in the morning. But folks, as an F-18 pilot, I didn't walk up on the flight deck of the Abraham Lincoln and go, God, how am I going to be a hero today? I went, how am I going to get smoked? How am I going to get killed? And then if that didn't happen, great. I'm pleasantly surprised. I wasn't pleasantly surprised, but you get what I'm talking about, okay? So I'm going to scare the hell out of you. Hopefully that's going to make you hedge. And then when it doesn't happen, we're pleasantly surprised. Okay, so there we go. I am cautiously bullish. That is my current strategic mindset. But before you place any trade, you have to come up with your strategic mindset. Step 2 is easy. It's the target, folks. The stock, the ETF, or the index that you're going to trade. I like to trade the indices over the ETFs. I trade SPX, not SPY, because potentially, and I'm not your tax attorney, I'm not an accountant, and I don't play one on TV, there might be different tax treatment. Google it, talk to somebody else, maybe I save you a little bit of money there. I'll move on. After we identify our target, what we're going to trade, now, oh, there it is, Uncle Wiz tax tip. Step 3. This, if you've been clubbing in the Bahamas for the past hour and 9 minutes, I need you back. This is one of the most important parts of any trade. Commit criteria. Why am I committing capital to this trade? Why am I in this trade? Folks, like I said, I fly around the country and around the world. I'll be in Minneapolis here at the end of the month for a 2-day speech. I bump in it, hey, Wiz, I'm in Apple. Great, why? I have an iPhone. Okay, that doesn't do anything. I like Apple. Okay, that sucks. I challenge you either after this webinar tonight or before the primary live trade brief in the morning, take a look at your positions in your portfolio. And if you can't ripple off 3 to 5 sentences, laser-like sentences, as to why you're committing capital to that trade, why are you in it? I love cornering people on the give me your commit criteria. Who's been in sales? It's the elevator pitch, right? Or the cocktail party pitch. If we get on the elevator at the 40th floor, by the time we hit the lobby, I better be looking at you going, oh my God, I'm an idiot if I'm not in that trade, right? 3 to 5 sentences. I am cautiously bullish on the S&P 500 because after the Sears strikes and getting his Supreme Court justice appointed, the market thinks that this guy can get things done. Something along those lines, okay? Or actually, since the iron condor that I put on is market neutral, I would also throw in another sentence on, however, I believe that with the Carl Vinson battle group turning around, we might see some indirect confrontation or maybe direct confrontation. So, and here's another critical part about commit criteria, folks. Anytime your commit criteria change, adjust the trade or get out. Look in the top left of my slide. The first word is what, folks? Discipline. How many of you, when a trade goes against you, go, oh, well, you know, Apple's going to come back. Apple doesn't hate me. Folks, Apple doesn't know who the hell you are. They'll steamroll over your house and your whole family. Who cares? Apple didn't care about you. That's the emotional part of trading where a lot of you are failing. I'm going to come up with, no kidding, hard numbers in a trade that says, at this point, we're either going to adjust the trade or we're going to eject and get out of it. Does that make sense? That's exactly right. Good. Anytime your commit criteria change, the reasons you got into the trade change, why are you still in it? Step 4. Here's where we come up with the tactic. Remember, it's not a strategy, folks. Anything I'm going to teach you this week, they're all tactics. So my cautiously bullish mindset and my commit criteria led me to select an iron condor for SPX for the week, just like the one that made $3,300 last week. Would have paid for an annual membership here. One trade last week. So if you're sitting here, and I think somebody earlier is like, oh, you know, this might be a little too high speed for me. No, folks, if you know that buying calls is bullish and buying a put is bearish, welcome aboard. Like I said, you're going to meet Doug Robertson Wednesday night, our vol arb trader, and you're going to have 8 training sessions. And I strongly recommend, even if you are that Jedi master that you think you are, we're going to make you better, just like the real Top Gun, okay? So the tactic, step 4, is the trade, okay? And we're also going to take a look at any potential events that could be coming up. We're in the heart of earnings season, folks. I don't know how many times I get, oh my God, thank God I'm a TGO. I would have placed that trade in the past and not known it was going through earnings, and it would have blown up in my face. Yeah, you got to look at these things. Step 5, tactical employment. Very important part, folks. This is the trade details, right? These are the individual legs. For example, the tactical employment in my iron condor was I legged into it today. I sold the bear. What did I do first? The bear call, the bear put, whatever it was. Here's my orders. I did the bull put spread first as the market pulled back today, and then I sold the bear call spread as the market popped. So I actually legged into it. I didn't place it as a one trade iron condor. I legged into it as the market moved around today. Okay? So that's what we do with tactical employment during that step is like, hey, how are we going to put this trade on, and what range am I going to look to get filled at? Okay? For example, last Wednesday when I sold that bear call spread as the ADP numbers came out, I said, hey, I'm going to try and get filled on this trade at $1.10 credit plus or minus 10 cents, meaning I'll go up all the way to $1.20 or all the way down to $1. Outside of that price range, folks, it's too rich or too poor for my blood, for lack of a better word, okay? Step 6, mid-course guidance. Ladies and gentlemen, I never dropped a bomb in anger or squeezed a trigger on a trade and closed my eyes and said, man, I hope that bomb or that trade, you know, is profitable. I hope that bomb hits bad guys. Folks, you need some trade management or some guidance into that missile to fly right through the window. We ask what if. What could go wrong during the life of this trade that we can talk about right now instead of freaking the hell out when it happens? How many of you place a trade without contingency planning? Like, all right, what if this happens? What if that happens? I know Janet's speaking Wednesday. What if she says this? If you're not doing that, folks, that's why you're taking losses. Before I get airborne for a mission over Syria, I determine what I'm going to do if I get shot at by a missile. The time for me to figure out what I'm going to do if I get shot at by a missile over Syria ain't when that happens, folks. I already chair flew what I'm going to do. I'm going to put out chaff, flares. I'm going to break over the missile. I'm going to call it out over the radio. So this is where we come out with potential adjust criteria. If this trade starts moving against me, should I adjust it? Okay? Or if it starts doing this, when should I bail out of it? Ladies and gentlemen, the F-18 flight manual over here, when the F-18 left the flight line, or the McDonnell Douglas assembly plant in St. Louis in whatever it was, 1982 or 4, the emergency procedures section was about 3 pages, right? It was a couple emergencies that the engineers said, okay, well, if this goes wrong, do this. I think the emergency procedures section, section 5 there, is up to about 95 pages. We say it's written in blood. And it's not to be morbid, but it is. Mishap after mishap, or this went wrong, or that went wrong. Oh, geez, we need to change some procedures or come up with that one. So guess what? I'm going to teach you tomorrow about all the SOPs we have here at Top Gun Options, trading SOPs, right? When will I adjust a trade when it goes against me? Now, I'm going to give you my SOPs, meaning, hey, guys, I don't want to risk more than this amount on any trade, and I will adjust it at this point. You can either go, you know what, Wiz, those are pretty cool. I agree with them. Or as you become more of a veteran here, you kind of come up with your own little ones, okay? So, good night, Jack. My son's going to bed. All right, step 7. This is our Colin Powell step, folks. This is, love the guy, man. He should have been the first African-American president, by the way, in all honesty. His wife convinced him not to run. His wife thought he would get assassinated. That's why Colin Powell did not run for the presidency. Instead, we got Lando Calrissian, this smooth-talking black guy from Chicago who should have run Cloud City. Okay, so step 7. We come up with when we're going to get out of a trade before we ever get in it. Does everybody understand that? Let me get a show of hands, and I'm not going to read your names out to publicly shame anybody. That was pretty funny. How many of you have had a credit spread on? Like, Wiz, I sold this bear call. I sold your SPX bear call spread on the ADP numbers. You know what? There's $150 left in this trade by Friday. I'll just let it expire worthless. And then Friday rolls around and Trump comes out and, he does turn out to be the second coming of Christ and the market goes through the roof. And you turn a 93% winning trade into a 100% losing trade. Instead of making $1,100, you lost $5,000. How many of you have? I'm guilty for sure. Good. Shame away, me, Mike, Jack, Greg. All right, guys, good. You're not. I'm going to break you of that rule, okay? Because we're gonna when you hit your max acceptable loss, get out, man. Colin Powell said when Bush the first said, "Get these guys out of Kuwait," he said, "You got it, sir. I'm on it." When do we declare victory? What is our exit strategy? Okay? So, everybody who's still around has done that. Perry, that is a very well said. I owe you a bottle of wine, man. Perry nailed it. Because the only people that are still here, we lost maybe, out of the 1,100, we lost maybe 75 idiots. You guys are actually the smart ones that go, you know what? I have done that before, Wiz, and I want to stop doing that. That's the discipline, and that's what I'm going to teach you here. Okay, you're right, and Kat, you're exactly right. I'm going to teach you tomorrow. If I see a 7, 8, or 9 in front of a credit spread victory, meaning 70%, 80%, 90%, get out of the trade, man. How many used to until TGO? Thanks, Dan. So a lot of my members come to these. It's funny. It's great to have these guys here as we're getting new full throttle folks on board. But folks, here at the end of the day, I'm gonna break you all this stuff. Okay. Herman, don't go there on Obama again. I think you like to hate Obama like Trump. Herman, first of all, I don't use the, if I use the H word, I don't like that. I don't hate anybody, to be honest with you. I disliked Obama. I'm not a huge Trump fan either, man, and you're going to learn that about me as well. Maurice, do you know Colin Powell? Maurice said Colin Powell didn't run for president because he has done community service all his life, and his wife wanted him home to spend time together. Did you meet him? Herman, well, you got to hang out the rest of the week. I bashed the hell out of Trump often, man. Here's the difference between Democrats and Republicans, folks, is when our guys mess up as Republicans, look at the Alabama governor, man. He was going to get impeached. You know who's going to impeach him? Republicans. You know what Democrats do? Bill Clinton. They stand behind him when he lies under oath for perjury. Oh, Maurice, what service and what branch? Maurice, what I'm getting at is I've met the guy. I've given keynotes. I know the guy, and I'm telling you what he told me. So unless he told you something differently personally, I've met Colin Powell. And that's what his answer was. So unless you know him better than I do. All right, guys. So I want everybody to look at this picture right here. You see this guy's neck? First of all, this is a CF-18. This is a Canadian F-18 Hornet. Okay? This young flight lieutenant, or whatever his rank was, and let's love one another as Jesus said. Herman, I couldn't, now we're in mutual ground, Herman. I love it. So, ladies and gentlemen, now you gotta watch me real quick. This F-18, this was a Canadian F-18. This guy was practicing for an air show. He was practicing a slow speed, high alpha maneuver, meaning high angle of attack, and he was doing about 85 knots. You could have, if you were on the runway underneath him in your car, you would have passed him. You would have looked up and saw this F-18 flying right slow all over you. Now, he lost his left engine. I think he took a bird. You see how the left engine here, the nozzle's wide open, and then this one ain't? This one's producing thrust. This ain't. So as soon as this airplane rolled, he was out. And if you Google the video, you can see how quick this happens. So let me ask you a question. You ready? Actually, let me show you this. It'll be a good break, and then I'm going to take some questions. Watch this. F-18 Canada crash. Canada crash. I want to show you this video real quick because it's, there it is. I want you to watch this, folks. Watch how quickly this happens. And I'm going to ask you a question.
Airport to get a sneak peek of Canada's fighter jet in action. It quickly becomes obvious witnesses saw more than they bargained for.
The CF-18 came low, went into a 45-degree upward angle to fly kind of like a Viper maneuver, and all of a sudden could hear pop, 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 sparks came out of the one engine.
All right, I turned my camera off real quick because it was eating up bandwidth. But you guys get the point. And some of you are like, holy crap. Now, let me ask you a question. When did that young flight lieutenant make the decision to eject from his airplane? Dan got it. HTML5 user. You got the answer, but you don't have your name in there. Greg got it. Ron got it. Steve, awesome. Back in the ready room. Patrick, you got it, man. Kat, probably that too. Arnie, good. All right, guys. So that made sense. The last step 7 of our trade plan, right? He made that decision to get out of the airplane before he got in the airplane. Here's my point in showing this, and how all of this stuff that I've learned as a Hornet pilot. Now you know why I'm a very, very successful options trader, is because you should know when you're getting out of a trade before you ever get in it. Yeah, Mike, he was okay. He a couple of vertebrae and stuff like that. He was flying about 2 or 3 weeks later. But guess what? That's an instantaneous 40 Gs, folks. That is a rocket. And you can see the F-18 seat is gyro stabilized. So even though he was in an angle of bank, the seat turns him up. So you can even eject inverted at 200 feet, and the seat will get you vertical. Okay? Awfully close to the ground. It was Simone, but he lived. Here's what we need to do. Our objective is to live to fight another day, okay? We always want to live to fight another day. The same thing in trading. So I'm going to show you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. in the primary live trade brief when I put on some trades that we want to live to fight another day. One of the SOPs that I'm going to tell you about, and I'm going to, there's actually my trading cockpit. There's the F-18 front office right there. On the right screen up here is a FLIR, forward-looking infrared radar. The radar's on the left. There's your moving map between your legs. Good stuff. One of the SOPs I'm going to teach you is and let me just show you in practicality. This is the weekly options trade, like I said, that I have on right now, the Iron Condor. I do not want to risk 5% of the model portfolio on any one trade. 5% of the model portfolio would be $5,000. Where'd you come up with that, Wiz? That's, folks, I've been doing this for over a quarter of a century. I've been trading options. That's me. You're going to have to come up with your own SOP, okay? Wiz, I don't want to risk more than 2%. Great. 2.5%, 10%, 50%. That's a little much. I don't want to risk more than 5% of the model portfolio on any one trade. So here's the other thing that you, and I'm taking a little thunder away from my PLTB because we have 5 minutes left, and I actually finished early, which is great. If you're sitting there going, well, Wiz, I don't have $5,000. Folks, this is based on 15 contracts, for example, on this SPX trade. If you don't want to risk more than $500 on any one trade, maybe you trade 2 contracts. Maybe you like my, Mike in the Goldman Sachs trade. Wiz, that's cute, your 5 Goldman Sachs contracts. I'm trading 20. It's none of my business, folks. First of all, you should be, paper trading or before you put any real capital at risk, guys, you got to be comfortable with it, right? You got to hit the simulator building, we call it. I'd be paper trading. But you need to come up with your own SOP, okay? And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. So start thinking through tonight. One of your homework is going to be, all right, what, based on my portfolio, how much do I, if this trade went to hell in a handbasket, would I not be okay with like, oh, I'm glad I lost that money, but what would I be isn't going to kill me, okay? So that's what you need. Samson, how much longer? 4 minutes. Okay, let me show you real quick because I don't know if I'm going to have, this is the urgent alert and weekly options model portfolio. Let me show you one of our JP Morgan trades, guys. Look at this trade right here. This trade is a Jan 18 trade. It is up, if you'll allow me to round up, $24,000. Okay. Larry, born and raised in Jersey. What exit? Live in Columbia. Use Options House and Libertarian Independent and have family near Boca and will be there in the end of May. I'm worried about placing the trades correctly. Will I have someone to call for help if needed? Larry, we're here 24/7, man. I'll show you, Larry, towards the end of the week when I open up the slots. We have something that's called the Ready Room on our members site. You can always get in here and get a hold of me or Doug. Let me just show you the Ready Room real quick, guys, because that's a great question. Exit 13, I was up in Margate, exit 44. Fish, best money you will ever spend in your life. TJ was real. Thanks, man. Chris, the to fear. The A in fear, Chris, was Asia. I talked about China and Japan. Okay. Guys, Nicholas, I'll talk tomorrow morning about the Options House platform I use. Guys, you can use any broker you want. I like Options House because guess what? I helped build it. So optionshouse.com/TGO. You can open a paper trading account with these guys, folks. And if you fund an account, I think you get 60 days commission free or something like that. I like Options House, folks. We'll talk about this tomorrow. I didn't think I'd get into this stuff tonight, but you guys are really motivated. I like this. We got a good group, man. This is going to be, we're going to pick up a good 50 by the end of the week. So go to optionshouse.com/TGO, and it takes like 2 to 3 minutes, folks, to open a paper trading account. Okay. So that's what, Kat, yeah, live vol is good with Options Express. It's definitely, Thinkorswim's good. Herman, I like Thinkorswim. I know Tom Saw's not very well when he was building Thinkorswim with his beret. But guys, when you join, you get access to what's called the Ready Room. So you can ask, hey, VXX, SPX highest call volume, Goldman Sachs. So you're going to learn to be friends with a lot of the other members here, okay? So I kind of branched out and didn't think I'd be talking about any of that tonight, but I'm glad I did. So whoever was saying, I'm actually going to be in Boca soon, I'll buy the first 20 rounds. We can take care of you. And that reminds me of, I do say when you are in Boca, you got to give me a call because where's my pictures here? We had a couple of our members down here lately, wherever it is, whatever. What I want to do, guys, is I'm going to cut you loose because, yeah, he's at Tasty Trade now. Yep. I'm going to cut you loose. That's kind of my wrap-up right there. It was a little bit of a segue in the primary live trade brief. So listen to what we're going to do. Let me put the flight schedule back up for those of you who maybe came in late. So tonight, again, guys, I'm glad I scraped all the losers into the wall that were like, where are the trades? And I'm out of here. So glad those people leave, man. It's a self-cleaning oven. I can't stand them. And they wouldn't have been members here anyway because it's just a different, they're not, I can tell. I've been doing TGO for 7 years. Folks, and you can ask some of my members. I get rid of members, to be honest with you. I don't need, I enjoy this for the camaraderie and the training and making friends and stuff. If you're a pain in the ass, you know, we usually show you the door. But here's the flight schedule, folks. Sam is still recovering. No soup for you. That's exactly right. So, guys, we did the welcome aboard tonight at 8. Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. Let me fix that right now. Whoever asked time zone, that was a good one. All times Eastern. So take a screenshot of this so you have it for the rest of the week so you don't have to sit here and keep asking me, hey, what's next or what's next? You're going to get a 1 hour heads up reminder with the link to log in. So actually, I'm going to put a little, watch this, man. You ready? Done. Monday night, done. So we got 5 more events to go. I got an urgent alert to send out, and we're going to have a great rest of the week, folks. So tomorrow, I think we're going to talk maybe Goldman Sachs front month trade and an Apple Jan 19 trade. So you're not going to want to miss the primary live trade brief tomorrow at 10 a.m. You got it, Perry. If you can't make tomorrow morning, like I said, the replay page, I will send you a link to the replay. If you can't, Wiz, Wednesday night at 8, actually hockey's gone, so what the hell do I do to football season? Whatever. If you're doing something Wednesday night, you can't make it, we're going to record it and send it to you, okay? Laura, your insights are very interesting, Wiz. Thank you. Daly, thanks, Wiz. I gained a lot of insight. I appreciate that, guys. And it's hard in a squadron, folks. Here's what we use. It's called respectful truth over artificial harmony. I will hit you right between the eyes with blinding truth. It might seem a little direct or land in the punch, but I got to be honest with you, folks. I don't have time to mess around. Okay, so I'm going to be very direct. Get to the point. I love people who red team my positions or push back a little bit of stuff, because that's, if we're in an echo chamber, we're all going to get killed. Before I went on any mission in combat or training, you red team it. You have your enemy rip it apart so you can get better. So if my demeanor is a little direct for some of you, I'm not going to apologize for it. It's my firm. We've been cranking out thousands of very successful options traders. Our portfolios speak for themselves. And like I showed you, I mean, this, I wish I am that good. Last week was, let me put up this as we go. This was just an absolute blast last week. So 3 shots last week, 3 kills, $5,300 in profit in 1 week on limited risk. Each one of these trades did not risk more than $5,000, and I think the Iron Condor actually was about a $4,300 risk. Okay, so we crushed it last week. So welcome. I'm really glad we scraped some of the other folks into the wall, because the folks that stayed, you're potential TGO members, and we're going to have a blast. Okay? Thanks, Jack. I like your style. Rogello, I posed a question earlier. I'm a new member and would like to know sorry, Rogelio, and I clicked that button by mistake. Sorry, guys. Let me show my member. Here's the week. Rogelio, go to weekly options, and I'll show you the trade for today. I'll send you the link. It's right here, man. 10 April, weekly options, bear call spread. And then I updated it with legging into the Iron Condor. So, guys, you're getting it. If you're not a member right now, you're seeing what members get. Here's a little commentary. Hey, great week last week. Here's the bear call spread that I sent out this morning via text alert, guys, and then email. And then here's the bull put spread that I put on, the 2340, 2345, and now it's an Iron Condor. So you should have that in there. Okay. Jack, sorry, when I was calm out there, I was actually just showing you the opt-in page for how many people are interested in full throttle. It said 55,411 people have opted in for this week. So the good folks came tonight, and the even smarter folks are going to come the rest of the week. Again, tonight was about getting to know me, getting to know TGO, getting to know the not fear where I'm going to be deploying assets in 2017 and also getting familiar with my trade plan because I'm going to be using that the rest of the week, okay? So hopefully everybody got a lot out of this. Arnie, thanks. Wiz, current TGO member, these are always a great review for me. Trading a small account, I'm up over 75% in the past 3 months following your insights and tactics. Very happy. Arnie, if you allow me, and guys, I know it sucks you can't see the comments. This is GoToWebinar, but I'm not reading stuff to myself here, so hopefully you can see I'm taking a screenshot of Arnie because I'm going to use that one. Thanks, Arnie. I appreciate that. So there's, oh, you can see it on the screen right now. I just took a screenshot of that. So, all right, folks, I'm going to let you do, look at that. I went over by 5 minutes. That means 5 free shots for everybody who comes to our Miami event. And by the way, June 9th and 10th down here, we are going to be doing a live event. If you want to come in person after you guys join, that would be awesome. So check out our Facebook page, guys. Make sure you press like, and you can also check out our Miami event that we're going to be doing. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Go hit the rack. Go take a look at your portfolio. See if you have commit criteria like I briefed you on. And I'm going to see everybody tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. in the primary live trade brief. We're also going to talk some weekly options, and it's going to be a great rest of the week, okay? I hope everybody and whoever just asked how much this costs, I love when on the Monday nights, people are like, I want to be a member tonight. I'm not even going to tell you. The answer is no, because you need to see what we're doing, man. Demo do. You need to see me in action. You need to see Doug in action, and then we'll talk about how you can get on and be a member, okay? All right, guys, have a great rest of your night. Thanks for coming tonight. Happy hunting. Make sure you hedge. I'll see you at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in this live trade brief, and we're going to have a great week. I'm really fired up, and it's going to be a great week. Okay, guys? 50 by Friday are going to be TGO members, and I hope we can accommodate because, again, I know there's already about 12 of you who were waitlisted from the January one who want your slots. But you guys got to compete just like everybody else, man, as soon as I open it up on Wednesday. All right, guys, good night. I'll see you at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. God bless. We'll see you.